Joining us now, my good friend Elaine Parker. She's all over this stuff. Elaine is the president of the Job Creators Foundation and the head of communications and spokesperson for the Job Creators Network. Go to jobcreatorsnetwork.com. Even better, go to taxcutswork.com. Do the tax tables. I just got a text here from Den in Chesapeake. Said, John, I went to taxcuts.com. I did what you said. I did the tax tables. And voila, I found out I saved $1,800 because of the Trump tax cut. That's a lot of money. I'm going on vacation with that. Elaine, great to have you.
Hey, John. How are you this morning?
It's going good. Elaine, I tell you what, there's a lot of, I've gotten so many texts in the last week of people saying, I went to taxcutswork.com. I did the tables, and I couldn't believe how much money I saved. Because what is happening, money was taken out, less money was taken out of your check every week or every other week whenever you get paid. And so it after the first couple of weeks, it kind of gets absorbed into your world. And so you don't realize it until you do the tables, and then you say, wow, I saved $2,500. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and we know people are saving money. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was, as you know, passed in December of 2017. It was implemented in February of 2018, and the first change was they adjusted the withholding tables so that everybody could keep more of their hard-earned money throughout the year. So we all got a pay raise basically last February by keeping more of our own money. And now that we're seeing we're 1 year out of the implementation, and people are filing their taxes for the first year, for the first time, they're able to see what their total tax savings is. And that's great. The problem is that the media is reporting that tax refunds are lower. Well, that's a really logical statement because we all paid less in. So you can't confuse the size of your tax refund with the size of your tax cut savings. And that's why our calculator is so important. If your listeners can go to taxcutswork.com and use that calculator, they may get the same results that your other listener got.
Well, that's the thing. You know, one of the things I didn't like about what Paul Ryan did with the tax cuts is I never really agreed with lowering the withholding tables because it doesn't have the impact. Right now, if that didn't happen, people would be getting massive refunds back and they'd be going on vacation, they'd be spending the money, it would be all over the news. Instead, you're getting the opposite. You have to fight through the fact that people saying, oh, my refund went down. Well, it went down because you were saving, $50, $60, $70 a paycheck, right? That was not withheld. The government was not holding your money. It was in your pocket cash. So, but, perception's everything, isn't it, Elaine?
Yeah, and I think that's probably something that they didn't anticipate. Obviously the thoughts were good. Let's give people more of their own hard-earned money. It's just not as exciting as getting what feels like a windfall every April. People do look forward to those tax refunds. They do utilize it for, different things like vacations and things like that. But it is abundantly clear through the economic numbers and how the economy is doing that Americans are experiencing savings. It's just they've been spread evenly throughout the entire year. It is a good thing, and you can't argue with the economic numbers as a result. But unfortunately, the Democrats and the media are basically being very disingenuous about these tax refunds and what they mean.
Well, there's a shocker. The legacy lying mainstream media, fake news, have been lying, right? I know that'll shock everybody today that you said that. All right, Job Creators Network, Elaine Parker, Chief Spokesperson, Director of Communications. Elaine, let's get to your Bernie Sanders ad campaign. You've got another ad out now, Job Creators Network. Hey, Bernie, are you just trying to out-left AOC and your White House competition? And you're calling it metascareforall.com. Metascareforall.com. What is up with the Bernie plan?
It's actually frightening on the one hand, and on the other hand, I'm glad he's being so honest about what it is. I mean, he's going to outlaw private health insurance. Unlike Barack Obama when he was trying to pass the Affordable Care Act, he told everybody they could keep their health care plan, they could keep their doctor and everything like that. It wasn't true. Millions of people lost all of that. He is basically telling us all, we are going to lose our health insurance, our private health insurance. which will obviously put us in a situation of potentially losing our doctor. So he's being dead honest with us. We can hear it, we can argue it, and we can certainly vote on it.
You know, I thought it was interesting is interview on whatever it was, CBS or whatever, where the interviewer asked him, they said, well, Senator, what would happen to private insurance? I mean, is this all gone? I mean, would there be no more private doctors? Everything is public? He said, no, you could still get a nose job if you wanted. I guess that would still be okay. But basically what this is, Elaine, this is a government hostile takeover of an entire industry. There are 220 million people right now on private health insurance plans, whether it's through themselves, their job, their employer, whatever. 220 million. You would take every one of those people and throw them out, and they would be forced in to Medicare. Also, Elaine, that would be the end of the Medicare plan, which is designed for seniors. Now, some seniors have Medicare Plus, that be gone. Some seniors have the gap insurance through AARP or another provider. That's gone. All that stuff is gone, Elaine, and everybody has to go on this Medicare plan. You can call it single payer, whatever it is, but it's a complete takeover by the government of the entire system. And so, I don't know, have they thought about the 220 million people now that have private insurance that are happy with it?
Obviously not. I mean, he's introducing a plan that is literally going to dismantle millions of private health insurance plans. It's going to mean massive tax hikes, longer wait times, and it's going to jeopardize the health benefits of seniors who already receive care under the Medicare system. Not to mention, you know, the massive job loss when you start looking at outlawing private health insurance. I mean, think about all those jobs. And you're just talking about massive tax hikes and massive job losses. That is going to send us into a recession. And I think that people really need to listen to what's being said. These are not freebies being given away at all under this system.
Elaine Parker, in order to combat this, do we need an alternative? Because everybody knows that the system we have now is not working. Drug prescriptions are way too high. They're out of control. A lot of people that were not able to take advantage of Obamacare, their premiums have gone up dramatically. So they've fallen through the cracks. A lot of people are now not able to get plans that fit their situation. So there's a lot of problems with the existing system. We have Obamacare solved some of them, not all. It created even additional problems. That's open for debate. But do we need an alternative plan in order to defeat this?
Absolutely. We do need an alternative plan. We need to bring the cost of health care down. We need to make health care more patient-centered. We need to have more transparency in the cost of health care. The administration has done several things to help with the cost of health care, but we're still dealing with a lot of issues that keep pushing the costs up. The president issued an executive order for expanding association health plans, which provides an opportunity for small businesses to band together, either through demographics or through industry, and bring the cost of health care down and put them on a more level playing field with large companies. They have extended the time frame that you can buy short-term policies from what was 3 months under Obamacare to over a year, and then they can extend it to 3 years in some cases for short-term kind of bare-bones plans, but at least it helps from like a major medical or a catastrophe situation. But there's more that needs to be done, and we definitely have to help the public understand that they have a role in this, and that is understanding that Medicare for all would be Medicare for all, and Medicare for none. So we definitely need a plan. We definitely need to move in that direction and bring those costs down so that everybody can afford it. Well,
there has to be a plan. Right now, we don't have one, and I'm not going to believe it till I see it, Elaine, because I went through this with Republicans the last time that said they had a repeal and replace plan and never had it. So I want to see it. Obviously, those are the tenets that you suggested, that those have to be there. There has to be flexibility. There has to be competition. It has to bring premiums down, not up. It's got to be choice-based, not mandated. And it's got to protect pre-existing conditions. There's going to be some subsidies that go with that because that's part of the deal now. I think everybody understands that. It needs to protect children staying on their parents' plan until they're 26. These are popular provisions, and it's got to be easy to do. And I think if they can get the basic of those tenets in, they might have something. But I want to change over a minute and get to the Federal Reserve, which is a big issue, Elaine, for you and I and the Job Creators Network, because Jerome Powell has proved to be a catastrophe, raised rates. He almost stopped the tremendous economic surge that we're having by raising rates, going under the Keynesian plan of when the economy grows, you're going to get inflation, so you raise interest, although we've had no evidence of that because the growth of money hasn't been there. So the whole thing, we all understand he's got to stop doing this. So the president says he's going to nominate Stephen Moore, who's on my show Monday. He's going to nominate Stephen Moore and Herman Cain to the Federal Reserve. Herman Cain, though, in trouble. He's already lost 4 Democratic senators right out of the gate. There was a meeting yesterday that Kudlow was at. You were at the meeting. Can you inform us as to what went down?
Sure. We had a great meeting yesterday talking about all aspects of the economy, how the tax cuts were doing. It was very informative to listen to Larry Kudlow and his perspective on things. Basically what he commented on about Herman Cain is that the White House is certainly behind him right now. They are going through the process with, the vetting process that they do with every candidate. He didn't say much more than that, but they're early in the process and they're going through everything that they need to from a candidate perspective.
So does the Job Creators Network, do you guys back Moore and Herman for this nomination?
We're obviously a huge fan of Steve Moore. He's on our board, actually, and we've partnered with him on our Tax Cuts Now tour, on our Tax Cuts Work tour. We have written several op-eds. Alfredo Ortiz, our CEO, and he have both co-signed several op-eds about the Fed over the last year or so. So we're a huge fan, and we'd like to see that process play out.
We'll have to see. I think right now, Herman Cain, I'm not sure that that this is going to be a successful nomination. He's already lost 4 Republican senators right out of the bat. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're with Elaine Parker. She is the Chief Vice President of Communications for the Job Creators Network. She's also President of the Job Creators Network Foundation. And to find out what your tax cut is, go to taxcutswork.com, taxcutswork.com. Elaine, let's get to another topic, if I may. Job growth last week came out on Friday. Everybody kind of went into the weekend, but tell us about that.
Yeah, the new numbers came out last week. 196,000 jobs were added in March, and it's just the 8th straight month of wage gains. And we just continue to see, when you start to look down at the wage gains a little bit low, a little bit deeper, you see that blue-collar wages continue to outpace supervisory wages. And Larry Kudlow referenced this yesterday, too. And really what that means is that blue-collar jobs are rising at a faster rate than white-collar jobs. And that's fantastic for middle class. We continue to see, this is the fastest wage growth we've seen in a decade. We still have a 50-year unemployment rate, 50-year low unemployment rate, and record rates for blacks, Hispanics, and women. This is it's a fantastic. And most recently, they've announced that there are now 7.6 million jobs available and only 6.2 million people out there to fill them. And we're continuing, like I said, to see wages go up. Bank of America announced that they're raising their minimum wage to $20 an hour. I think that's fantastic. And that's exactly how the free market is supposed to work, not through government wage mandates, but through the free market. and the demand for labor pushing wages up.
That's the way it's supposed to work, right? That's the way it should work. And congratulations for Wells Fargo for doing that, and all companies that have to raise wages. And that's why wages are going up, because the job market is tightening, and people want the best employees are going to have to pay more, right? When job opportunities increase, wages go up. It's simple economics 101, supply and demand. When there's a glut of labor and too many jobs for too few people, like by bringing in all these illegals, then wages go down because it pushes them down, which is why I'm opposed to unfettered open borders and all these illegals coming in at will, which is what we have now and the Democrats want. Elaine, let's get to one of our favorite topics to make fun of, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Seems like there's a little trouble in socialist paradise in her House district. Her constituents upset that she kicked out Amazon, and $150,000 jobs that they thought they were going to get are gone. And the opportunity to work for companies supplying Amazon with good paying jobs are gone. So I thought the socialist world was all happy flowers and bubbles. What's going on?
Yeah, it's amazing to me, and not surprising, frankly, that even her own constituents, they wanted these jobs, $150,000 a year jobs. And, she blew it. She blew it for the state of New York. She blew it for her constituents. She blew it. You're talking about $4 billion in wages a year and $12 billion in economic activity gone from New York, not gone from Virginia. There are other states, obviously, that were very happy to take those jobs. And yeah, her constituents are very unhappy about that. And it's a shame. And it's amazing to me that she can walk through the airport and complain about the cost of a croissant and then demand that there be $15 an hour wages. Well, she just got rid of $150,000 a year jobs. Think about what the hourly wage is on that job.
Any chance that she could get beat there?
I know she's got a couple of folks running against her already. She only won with about 16,000 votes.
I know.
So 16,000 people elected her.
Yeah, I mean, and there's 770,000 people in the district, so, they had a very tiny turnout, 2% or something. I bet Joe Crowley is really kicking himself now that he didn't take her seriously, because he probably would have beaten her, but we'll see what happens. But I know her constituents are mad, and you just can't kick that number of jobs out of a district that people would have had good jobs for people, and I think they're saying, okay, maybe she's fun to do on an app, but I don't have a job as a result of her. I've only got a couple more minutes here, Elaine. I want to get to a former former co-chairman of Home Depot, Bernie Marcus, does an op-ed in Breitbart the other day. He says exclusive Democrats can't win based on their ideas, so they want to change the rules of the game. Can you elaborate on that op-ed by Bernie Marcus, please?
Sure. And as you know, Bernie is not only the co-founder of the Home Depot, but he's the founder of the Job Creators Network. And what he wanted to do was talk about all of these ideas that are being put forth by the Democratic Party, and just, how bad they are for the country and the efforts to just change the rules of the game because they don't have any good ideas. I mean, they're talking about abolishing our electoral college, allowing children to vote, and packing the Supreme Court. It's amazing to me when you hear Senator Warren talk about every vote needs to be counted. Well, she knows, she's well aware, especially as an attorney, she's well aware that every vote is counted. What the Electoral College does is it ensures that every state is counted. If we got rid of the Electoral College, there's not a single Democrat that would ever campaign outside of the big cities in Los Angeles and New York and Chicago. They wouldn't need to. They could win on just those cities alone. They would never have to listen to the constituents in middle America. They would ignore them.
That's why the wisdom of the founding fathers put the Electoral College in, so that every state had a say, that every state had a stake in it. But you're right, you eliminate the Electoral College, and both sides of the aisle, the campaigns would be waged in just major metropolitan areas. Like you say, San Francisco, L.A., Sacramento, Dallas, New York, Washington, D.C., that's it. Boston, Chicago. That's where every campaign rally would be. That's where the whole thing would be waged. Nobody would ever go to Wyoming. Nobody would go to Alabama. Nobody would go to Mississippi. And that would be a real issue. And that is not what the founding fathers envisioned. So quite frankly, Elaine, I'm going to stick with them. We're out of time. I want to thank Elaine Parker for being with us, Chief Spokesperson for the Job Creators Network. She's also the president of Job Creators Network Foundation. Elaine, keep fighting. Thanks for being with us.